Everybody, welcome to day 3 of our journey through Holy Week. We are trying to prepare our hearts and our minds to celebrate Easter in all of its fullness and all of its meaning. And today I want to talk about a really kind of obscure character in Scripture. In fact, I'll give you his name and see if you can't, in your own memory, figure out who he is. His name is Malchus. Let me read to you from John chapter 18. When he had finished praying, Jesus left with his disciples and crossed the Kidron Valley. On the other side there was an olive grove, and he and his disciples went into it. Now Judas, who betrayed him, knew the place because Jesus had often met there with his disciples. And so Judas came to the grove, guiding a detachment of soldiers and some officials from the chief priests and Pharisees. They were carrying torches, lanterns, and weapons. They are ready for a fight. Jesus, knowing all that was going to happen to him, went out and asked them, "Who is it that you want?" "Jesus of Nazareth," they replied. "I am he," Jesus said. Now, I want to pause there just for a minute, because that statement in the Greek is literally "I am." It's the same statement that Jesus used over and over in the Gospel of Jesus, referring to himself, connecting himself with the Old Testament Yahweh. And this is a term that was used when Moses was at the burning bush and asked who it was that he was talking to, who it was that was sending him to Pharaoh. And God's response was, "Tell them I am sent you." And notice what happens when Jesus uses this term. When he says, "I am." It says Judas, the traitor, was standing there with them. And when Jesus said, "I am," in the English they translate it, "I am he," because it makes more sense in the English. Listen what happened. They drew back and fell to the ground. And so you have this incredible detachment of soldiers, of Pharisees, carrying torches, lanterns, and weapons. And simply at the word of Jesus, telling them who he is, "I am," they fell on the ground, literally on their faces. And again he asked them, "Who is it that you want?" And they said, "Jesus of Nazareth. I told you that I am." And Jesus answered, "If you're looking for me, let these men go." This happened so the words that he had spoken would be fulfilled. "I have not lost one of these that you have given me." And then Simon Peter, who had a sword, drew it and struck the high priest's servant, cutting off his ear. And that servant's name was Malchus. Jesus commanded Peter, "Put away your sword. Shall I not drink the cup that the Father has given me?" And again, that cup, we talked about this yesterday, is the cup of God's wrath. Now think about what it would have been like to be the high priest's servant. I mean, this was a privileged position. Maybe it was through some familial connections. Maybe he was a leader among the soldiers. And Peter, I don't know if he sought out the weakest among them or the strongest among them. Now, John doesn't tell us what happens after this in terms of with Malchus, but he does end up healing this guy's ear. Now, what's interesting is that this guy Malchus would go on to be, according to tradition, named among the believers. And I'm certain that whenever the conversation came up about this carpenter, this Messiah, this Jesus, that he would probably always think of that moment in the garden grove when his ear was literally chopped off and then healed by Jesus. At some point, scriptures don't tell us what happened, but at some point, he gave his life to Christ, became a follower of Jesus, and was named among the believers. It's interesting that in some situations, people sought out Jesus and touched him to be healed. But in other instances, Jesus sought out them, like this guy Malchus, and touched them and healed them. Think about this passage in this scene here that I just read, and try to spend a few minutes asking this question: God, what are you saying to me? What are you inviting me to? God bless you guys, and I'll see you next time.